Epic Universe, the great big theme park coming out next year from Universal Studios, just might be delayed in its opening. And you can blame Milton, the hurricane, the one that is damaging, destructifying, and destroying the lives of so many, may also be delaying the opening of North America's biggest, greatest new theme park. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we as ever endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, and sometimes keep you way ahead of the news that's coming out soon. Today, we dread this news and we hope that it's not true, but we worry that it is. Because of the hurricane that is ravaging Florida, well, it may be ravaging Universal Studios. Sure, Disney is a focus, but Universal Studios' Epic Universe is a huge theme park. It's also a huge construction site, and construction sites fare very poorly in hurricane situations. Today we'll bring you the latest on what's going on and what it might mean for the theme park scene. Let's bring the panel on right now. All right, folks, here's the first story up, and it's a big one. Hurricane Milton, one of the strongest storms ever recorded in Atlantic Basin. Threat has residents fleeing, and Disney World Resort closing some attractions. Here is the update. This is as soon as we've got it. I'll refresh one time just to make sure, in case they have done anything else. They have not. Okay. Folks, you're going to see on this screen that we're looking at right here that we have the hurricane activity now stretching all the way across Central Florida and anticipated to go through Orlando. Now, that's not typical at all. Usually when these things reach land, they diminish greatly by the time they make it to Central Florida. The problem here is that anticipation is Hurricane Milton, which at times has been a Cat 5. It's been downgraded, but we'll explain why that's really, you should not take that as a sign that this is a lesser storm, and we'll explain in a few. But this hurricane is going to do something very odd. It's already odd in a bunch of ways, but one of the things it's going to do that'll be so strange, it is going to enter Florida as a hurricane, and it is going to exit Florida as a hurricane. In other words, it is going to go completely across the state, and it will continue to be a hurricane from the time it enters to the time it exits. A Category 1 by the time it exits, with tremendous flooding anticipated in the northeastern part of Florida. We're talking about St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Fruit Cove, those areas, potentially all the way down to Daytona. But when it goes in on the west side, of course, it's going to be something like a Category 4 or a Category 3. We'll talk about the Cat 5 situation in a moment. This, however, we'll come to the Disney side of this in a few. This could have a dramatic impact on Universal Studios in a way that nobody is yet reporting. We'll get to it in just a moment. Here we go. Hurricane Milton has officially become one of the strongest storms ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin. Milton's maximum sustained winds reached 180 miles per hour late Monday, then declined to 155 miles per hour as the storm skimmed across the top of Cancun. It is now a Cat 4 cyclone and expected to explode in size as it approaches Florida, making landfall as a Category 3 major hurricane. Now, to explain why the diminishment from Category 5 to 4 or 3, which may not happen, it may stay as a Cat 4 all the way until landfall, we don't know. To explain why that's not necessarily something that should give people a better feeling or convince you to stay if you're in this area, what's happened is that because it was a Category 5 over very warm waters, it has picked up a ton of moisture, and that has expanded the size of the hurricane. That's going to do two things for the state of Florida over the next days. First of all, it is going to increase the amount of rainfall tremendously. The second thing, beyond the flooding, is that it's going to produce a huge amount of storm surge. So while the wind factor has diminished by something like 30 to 40 miles per hour as it enters, the water is going to be bonkers. And I can tell you, I've been at Magic Kingdom many times when it was a major rainy day, and you can walk in water that's up to your knees. Magic Kingdom doesn't handle really heavy water well. The idea that certain bands of this hurricane could bring in 10 inches of water in a short period of time, it's going to be bad. But here's the real story that I want to start off with as we get ready to go into what's happening today with everything hurricane related. Guys, if this hurricane impacts the construction at Epic Universe, and we suspect that it will, they're going to have to go into Epic Universe and reassess all of the construction projects, and that is not a small number of things and they're going to have to recalibrate. They're going to have to measure and make sure that there was no structural damage. They're going to have to make sure that none of the construction projects have been altered in any way by the storm. And I think and believe now that what we're looking at, beyond just the destruction that could happen in the theme parks, hotels, infrastructure, and more, I think this actually has the potential now to delay Epic Universe in its opening. We have a good idea of when it's going to open. That's internal. That's not external. Nobody knows that yet. We're not talking about it. But I think now that we could be looking at a major delay. Panel, your thoughts on the situation?
Well, I think the biggest problem with Epic would be that you would have water causing a settling prior to having any of the drainage or anything else in place. I mean, this is a civil engineering problem that could lead to attraction issues down the road. So they really do. You're 100% right. They really are going to have to figure everything out to make sure that they didn't have any subsidence or anything like that occurred. Or a change in water table that would compromise pilings. There's a lot of things that they'll have to assess. So you're right; it could delay Epic Universe.
That's just the water. I mean, the wind also has a potential to shift some of these pieces of construction that are not yet what they call in the dry. You could have some of these, and even if they are in the dry, you're going to have to check every single one of these structures that was incomplete to make sure that it didn't shift in some way.
Yeah, and you also have the when was the last pour? Because they've been doing some follow up on cement and things like that they have to have locked in place. So in the dry is literal term as well. So yeah, it's going to be a nightmare trying to figure all that out. But they have really good structural engineers, and a lot of these elements have already been pre-planned for hurricane winds. The problem is, are they settled enough that they didn't shift, they didn't have significant structural issues or cause a lean or anything. So hopefully they can do that quickly, because otherwise we might be looking at several months of delay.
Yeah, I drove past the Epic Universe site probably 3 days ago. And, while it's easy to kind of assume that, like, oh, well, they're almost done, like, it's just about ready. There's still a lot of work left to do. So there is a lot of, scaffolding still up. You might get the scaffolding get blown down. That might cause some issues as well. It could definitely put a bit of a monkey wrench into Universal's plans.
Marvin, can you talk about some of the preparations that the theme parks go through as a hurricane is getting ready to head their way? What are they doing probably over the next 2 days?
Well, I mean, the main thing that they do with the resorts, like over at Disney and whatnot, is they always plan activities and, the ability to get food to people. When the parks are closed, they say that the best place to be in Central Florida in the event of a major hurricane is one of the theme park resorts, because they really work hard to take care of you. Or at least they did. I mean, who knows with modern Disney what they're going to do, but maybe you get a juice box and a bag of cookies. But there's always been entertainment. There's always been, it's one of the last places that'll lose power. So it's definitely a good place to be if you're able to get there. Now, to that end, I tried to get a room there. And everything was booked. Literally there's not a single hotel room from the very, very top of the deluxe resorts to the very, very bottom of the value resorts available on Walt Disney World property right now.
Well, this is also unique, and so I'm not recommending that people attempt to go to the theme parks or go to the resorts, because this is unique in that we have not seen, that I can recall, a direct hit to the theme park. So folks, you're going to go find some YouTube videos out there of people staying in the Contemporary and some minor flooding and some branches on the ground and that sort of thing. That's when like a category 1 or 2 came close. This could have category 3 level winds over Orlando, and there are trajectories that have this going in a worst case scenario straight over Universal Studios and Disney World. I don't recall this. Anybody on the panel recall a direct hit to the parks before?
Nope. There's some things I'm going to add in here as far as the unprecedented nature of this. That Disney, right? First of all, there are cruises that are supposed to be starting here on Friday that appear to be canceled or delayed, which obviously people would be traveling in over the next few days for that. They've also extended their cancellation policy, and they are waiving fees for people who are canceling because of the storm, and also they've closed down Fort Wilderness. I'm trying to think of the other resorts that are closed down here. So it used to be that Disney would only ever shut down if it was a complete emergency. Now it seems more common, but at the same time, I think this is a much bigger deal than it has been in the past.
I don't remember anything like this. I mean, and I've been the parks have been a big part of my life, my whole life, and I do not remember any storm like this before.
Well, thank
Well, they say
goodness
it's
that
not been since 1917 since one came at this trajectory with this kind of strength.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I can just say thank goodness that Cinderella Castle disassembles into 3 pieces in the event of a major hurricane like this, as we all know. That is an actual thing that people used to try to tell me. Like, oh yeah, here
And you started up again.
They take
People are gonna
Cinderella
run with it.
Castle apart.
They
No,
can't
no,
even
they're going to say it now. They're going to say, Marvin said so on the Pro Show. We know we can trust them. I heard him say it.
Well,
They
it'll
can't-
No, they don't-
reform. It'll reform with the Tree of Life into a Voltron-like figure and use Spaceship Earth as a shield.
You
Yeah.
beat me to
I
that
dread
joke,
the day
Jonas.
that there's I dread the day that there's a news story that shows the Spaceship Earth ball rolling across Florida and wreaking havoc in its path. That's going to be a bad one.
That'd be amazing. That's a movie
Finally.
I would like to see.
Finally, the golf ball meme comes true. Yuck, yuck.
When it comes to checking in on the park tomorrow, can you check in on Animal Kingdom?
Which furry animals would you like us to make sure they're okay?
All
The
of
giraffes
them?
come first.
Just all of them?
We
I
will.
believe
We
there
will
are
check.
2 baby elephants right now, so we got to make sure they're all right.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'll tell you a sad story. I was at Animal Kingdom one time when lightning struck a giraffe, and it was not a good thing. I'll tell you, it was not a good thing. And I think this was like a decade ago. And on the behalf of the Animal Kingdom cast members, I will tell you that many of them there, even the ones who were just regular cast members who didn't work with the animals, there was a palpable sadness over that. So we do hope that, and we believe that Disney will take all the precautions necessary to safeguard the animals. I haven't heard, by the way, what's going to go on with Busch Gardens. That's in more danger, perhaps. So that'll be
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
thankfully, the animals at Animal Kingdom, it's not like they live out in the safari. There is a backstage area where they live, where they, that's kind of where you normally will find them. So those are big concrete buildings, so they should all be safe back there, thankfully.
And it is time to put a bow on it for this one, folks. Is a gift to everybody who wants to know exactly what's going on in the entertainment industry. And we are so joyful that you were there to receive it. We hope that you had a great time. An attitude of gratitude on this channel every single time you decide to spend time with us. As we get ready to say goodbye, we only ask a few simple things. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. And folks, as you get ready to head out that door, do you have a place on social media that you love to share this sort of thing? Hey, you can make this YouTube video sing by putting it out there for your friends, your family, and for those weirdos who just won't leave you alone. Folks, until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.